All right.
Okay. Go for it.
Thank you. And here we are again in the happy to help session.
Yeah.
And the point of this, you may have questions, concerns, different things that you want to talk about. I may have the responses for you on that. We may brainstorm together and have the responses on that. Or I may point you in a direction to TI, a particular department in TI, to get the responses that you need. And that's basically the gist of it. So we have a small group, which I always think is wonderful. That way, if you have a lot of questions or you want to have an open feel as far as dialogue is concerned, we can do that here. Let's have some fun. Let's find out what we wonder about and ask questions. So anybody who's ready to ask something, please just speak. Take yourself off mute for the moment. Would that be okay, basically, with everyone to be off of mute and just jump on in and let's start having a conversation? Oh, I just love the silence in the room.
Sorry, could you repeat that? You just want us to unmute?
Yeah, who is asking that question?
This is Ben from Mountain View Toastmasters.
Oh, hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, I was just saying you don't need to be on mute if you have questions or things that you want to talk about, any kind of wonders at all. Just share them. Just jump right in, ask your question. You know what's really great? What's really great is to not only hear what might be the rules at TI, but also what works for other people that's different from the rules at TI, but still spells success for your club. So don't feel like you have to go stick with one particular response, unless, of course, it's things like when do we need to turn in our dues? When do we need to turn in our officers list? Things like that. All right. So, anybody, would you like to speak? Lynn.
Lynn? Okay.
I
Bob?
thought Lynn.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's anything to offer, but just one thing that I was just wondering how other people are feeling about this, I guess. Just one thing that I've noticed, particularly over the last few months, I think Zoom fatigue is setting in for a lot of organizations. I've noticed some attendance in different clubs going gradually down. Other organizations I'm associated with, attendance seems to be going down at a lot of these meetings. For nonprofits and volunteer organizations, it seems to be a little bit harder to kind of organize the troops. And I'm just wondering, are other people noticing the same kind of thing? And B, what can we do to help want to get people more involved again a little bit about this?
I love that question. I absolutely love that question. And I do see that too. And to me, it's really about perspectives, right? I think people are tiring out of Zoom because they're saying, this is not how we used to do things. I don't see the relevance in it. And I just really want to back off from it. But the reality of it is that number one, Zoom or a product like Zoom is here to stay. And it is part and parcel of how we're going to do business. And I'm not talking about just in Toastmasters here. I'm talking about at your company. I'm talking about with your competitors. Everybody's doing that. And so if you think about how we can leverage and use Zoom in Toastmasters, it's really so that we have the best online presence that we can offer. So it's not just a, well, this is getting us through our not being able to meet together. It's more than that. It's an opportunity to learn how to do the best presentations online that are available out there. And how does that translate for the member? Well, it's obvious. The member that really knows how to present on Zoom is the member who is probably, or the employee who's probably going to be recognized for that and will be the person that they say, hey, Bob, can you please take this particular area here? Your online presence is great. We just like to use you for that. And that's because you're practicing at Toastmasters using Zoom. What's another way that you make it relevant? And this was a kind of a discovery that we bumped into as we were doing club officer trainings because we were hearing so much of that same sort of a question. Well, make it relevant or more relevant in your club by having a role for it. So you've got an awe counter, you have a timer, you have a grammarian in all likelihood, have a Zoom master. Have somebody there on Zoom that is able to watch people as they present. I noticed that you were looking at the people in the room, but then you really weren't looking at the camera so that people start to become more and more aware of what habits they may bring in. We had a person the other day where I was the
Both of the stores, the Trader Joe's and
hey Catherine,
Shoppers.
hey Catherine, can you go on mute for just a sec?
Yes.
Thanks. Uh, anyway, we had a person who we were evaluating the other day who stood up to do her speech because she didn't want to lose remembering how to move if she was in a room again. But the problem was she stood perfectly still, didn't move 2 inches this way or that. And so consequently, the thing she was hoping to gain, she didn't gain. Worse than that, she's bringing in potentially a new bad habit when she goes back out and speaks Zoom free. So that's something that you want to think about too. A Zoom master would be able to be that one that can count that can say that's what's going on. And maybe what I would also suggest, have the Zoom master bring in something to that meeting that day that everybody will like to emulate. As an example, you have the word master, right? The person who has that special word that everybody use it. In fact, it's really kind of funny because I was thinking about how in some clubs they snap their fingers when the person uses the word of the week. I don't know about you, but that just reminds me of beatniks. Anyway, what you could do with that is you could just go ahead and use that move of the day or that Zoom of the day, use that in the meeting too to count how many people are really reaching to do something a little bit different. I think that would help a lot. And the other thing too is if membership is starting to dwindle, my suggestion is that you let it be known by way of email. Hey, we started doing this. Here's what happened. Let people know. It'll pique their curiosity. They'll come back in to see what's going on. They will very likelihood, they'll be the ones that want to participate in it too. So those are my suggestions. Does that help?
Well, yeah, I was just curious to hear what other people's experiences have been in this area. So that's definitely helpful.
Okay. All right, next. All right, I've removed my glasses.
I was looking forward to hearing what was on Catherine's shopping list for Trader Joe's, though.
Bob, actually, sorry, Bob, actually, just to comment on what you said. Yeah, in our club, actually, we've held our attendance actually really well, and I think one of the things we looked at is why do people attend Toastmasters to begin with? And for most people, I think it's to improve their speaking skills. But I think for a lot of people in the club, it is that connection that they have with the other members, that social connection that they have. And with Zoom, it makes it that much more difficult because you're not meeting in person. And so what we've done in our club is that a lot of members have actually done a lot of speeches that have a lot of personal content. And I feel like in our club, we've grown a lot closer together as members and got to know each other a lot better because I think we've got to know each other personally, and that in-person connection is still, that connection is still there, but it was done through our speeches and kind of replaced that in person. So I don't know how you replicate that, but I'm just saying this was our experience in our club. So.
You know, that's actually a great point. And in fact, I'm thinking to myself, I'm working with a couple of new mentees or proteges as a mentor. And in the past, I would work with those people over the phone, maybe meet with them once or twice. But now with Zoom, I have Zoom meetings with them. And consequently, number one, we meet much more frequently than we did before, which I think is to the benefit of the mentee. Number two, we've gotten to know each other that much more than I normally have an opportunity to get to know the people that I work with, which I think is a win-win for absolutely everybody. So yeah, I think that there's some other advantages to it that maybe we don't consider, but it would be a good thing to think about that too. Okay, another question?
I don't have a question, but I guess this is a question. Now that on the opposite spectrum, Zoom makes it so much easier to go visit clubs and to have people visit your club because they're not having to travel. You know, they can just turn on their computer wherever they're at and join your meeting. So what are people doing to get the word out? You know, besides just on the website and meetup and things like that, what are some other ways that we can get the word out that we have these virtual meetings?
Well, if it isn't PR, then it's not going to work, right? And so Meetup is PR, Facebook is PR. Any of the PR avenues that you have to use to say whether you're in Amsterdam or Aptos, come join us at our meeting. We meet Wednesday. Be sure to put in Pacific Standard Time and the times that you meet. Put that information that's in there, and something maybe like you're never too far away from a Toastmasters club with Zoom, something like that. I think you can put those things in there as a reminder.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Who else has a question here? And Kat, can you share what you're sharing, what you're saying there?
Hi, sorry, I'm cooking breakfast for my kid, but yes. You're talking about the chat. I was
Yeah.
a tip chat in my sergeant at arms training was, join early and have the officers stay later, have some chit chat, offer to answer guests' questions at the end. We always did join early to make sure, we had last minute replacements and logistics covered, but I didn't invest in trying to have chit chat. So I copied that idea as soon as I heard about it in the training, and it's been worthwhile. It's not quite the same, but it's better than just like hanging up or everyone just joining right when the meeting starts.
Sure, of course. Yeah, thanks for that. That's really good. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, even if you can't join early, some people were building in about 2-3 minutes just to kind of say hi, go around and say hi to everybody. And that kind of took place of the face-to-face, where you were able to say, hi, welcome. And so so that also applies when you have your work meetings. You can just, if you're trying to organize a meeting, make sure that you build in 2-3 minutes in the beginning just to kind of make sure that everybody is invited to the room and welcomed to the room.
Definitely. And that's easy to do with Zoom, that's for sure. So you want to be sure to include that in there. It should just be part and parcel of how you operate. Everybody should be like, does anybody remember the Brady Bunch? Here's a story about a man named
Yep.
Brady.
And they all look at each other.
What a perfect thing to talk about on Halloween. Anyway, and I know because I went to school with those kids. Anyway, the thing is that you can do that in a Zoom environment where you look up, you look left, you look down, and you speak to people all over the place and share information and make them feel comfortable. Satish, you were going to share something. Oh, dude, get out. Bob, you are overly prepared.
Well, you mentioned the Brady Bunch. I did have one other thing about the chit chat session. The club I'm in, our main club, it's a Saturday morning breakfast club, and it's a 2-hour meeting, and we usually break when we meet in person. We break for 10 minutes and share breakfast together. Usually somebody brings some food and we share the food. So we've kept that break in our meeting schedule. So it's just a time to chit chat right in the middle of the meeting. So we do table topics usually beforehand, then speeches and evaluations afterwards. but having that chit chat time is a nice way to keep the energy going.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Yep. Right. Did someone else have something they want to share? Satish, did I see you with something to share?
Can you hear me, Rita?
I can hear you perfectly.
All right. So the thing that one of the things that has worked well for us is to have some kind of activity around which people can socialize. You know, this chit chat thing also works for us. We, as I said in the chat, we get on about 15 minutes early, right ahead of the meeting. But the other thing that works for us is we have a bookmaster, for the meeting, bookmaster, book leader, and to talk about a topic like a book. I think it's fair to say a lot of Toastmasters are also avid book readers. And so to have something to talk about where there might be common interests, and that'll bring people back to see, oh, what are they going to share about today, right? So that's one thing that came to mind that might be useful for others.
You know, that brings up a great point, and you're right. That is useful. In fact, I have something I'll email you afterwards that basically has a lot to do with what you just shared here. You'll love it. One thing I suggest is if you see that attendance is starting to dwindle, it's easy to start to say it's all about the Zoom, but maybe it's not all about the Zoom, right? So in case it's not, that idea of we're looking into a new Toastmaster year and what things do we want to polish and continue to share? What things do we want to maybe do differently? Like in the case of a book report, sharing a book that would be helpful. Maybe I'm going to use my club as an example. We have a 1-minute Toastmaster. Well, maybe that could replace the 1-minute Toastmaster, that you could try it just for 6 months to see how it goes, or something like that, where you add some things, people then start to have a voice and it becomes exciting again to be there because things are a little bit different and you're using your brain on a different level than what you were using before. That's really good. Okay. Other thoughts? What I really love is the idea of bringing a solution to the table like that, just to say, hey, here's something that we could do. That's just absolutely wonderful because it's easy, I think, a lot of times for us to say, oh, this isn't working or that's not working. But when we can start to look at, but here's a possibility of something that can work, then it goes back to, again, something that some of you have heard me say millions of times, is that you are part of the solution, not part of the problem. I like the idea of having someone monitor people's appearances, looks, actions on Zoom. Though I might, can you say the rest of that, Bob?
I just might suggest calling it a Zoom coach instead of a Zoom master, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, right?
Yeah, it could, whatever you like. I mean, different clubs call different roles, different things, but Zoom master just seems a little strange.
How about Zoomster?
Zoomster.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that you could pick. Okay.
I do want to add, like, I actually really like this idea a lot of a Zoom master. We have talked about it, Rita, in our club a lot. But even if you don't implement that, I, as the sergeant at arms, just say something at the beginning of each meeting as well, too, about people being present in the Zoom format and how they present themselves. And I really do think it makes a difference. It's made a big difference in our club, just bringing some attention to that. Everybody, because we did get fatigued and people were turning off their video and they were doing other things, and just bringing that attention back to it, I think actually refocused our club for that amount of time, just for an hour a day, reminding people this is an hour a day or an hour and a half or whatever.
An hour a week.
Carrie, I'm very interested in expanding on that a little bit, because there's a club that seems to be very strict about having everybody turn off their video and their mute themselves, and then only the speaker is always on the the main one. So, and I feel like that's a little bit too rigid. there's got to be some kind of balance to that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I want to explore what other people think about that.
The way that I say it to our club is that we come to Toastmasters to learn to be good listeners as well as good speakers. And part of being a good listener is being present and allowing yourself not to be distracting while still being seen. Because if we were in an in-person meeting, you know, you're not going to get up and go get a glass of water in the middle of someone's speech. You're just not going to do these things. And so we have to, we get lazy on Zoom when we can turn off our videos. We get lazy about where our attention goes. And so I like to present it as, you know, you have this hour, even if you're not a speaker during the meeting, you have this hour to practice being a good listener.
Yes, I think that that's a good point. I think the other thing too is when you tell me, whenever I hear this club is very strict, I feel for that club, because part of the biggest reasons why we stay in Toastmasters is because we're having fun. Now, somehow or another, the word fun and the word strict do not walk hand in hand with each other. So my suggestion to you is that they lighten up a little bit and they remember that it's all about having fun. We learn best in times of fun.
So we were just talking about keeping video going and the host just stopped everyone's video.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was the fun thing was too much. I don't know.
It's like, what did I do wrong?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things
You will be strict, damn it.
Yes, yes.
I just want a +1 to fun and adaptability. We always have to adapt to like some weird obstacle that comes up in real meetings anyway. So,
Right.
Well, it's true. And actually learning how to get through that and learning how to have a sense of humor as you get through that is probably one of the greatest talents that you can have when you're presenting at work or presenting for work, whatever it is that you're doing. All right. Other thoughts, other ideas?
Well, just related to some of the comments that are being made, you know, one of the things I think we can do to help improve clubs moving forward is include some of these Zoom feedback or Zoom etiquette features in evaluations. And I've noticed a lot of evaluators are just kind of going through the same motions they did before, and they're not really taking the Zoom room into account as part of the evaluation. And I think that's important because I don't know how many times I've seen people, you know, they're giving their entire speech and all you can see is their head, you know, and like all this empty space above, and that's terrible, you know. So giving that feedback during an evaluation, I think, is important.
Yeah. Well, and again, as really good feedback, don't just tell them what you didn't like, tell them what you'd like to see them do instead, right? That would be the perfect way of doing that. So one thought that just came to mind, and I will take ownership of that, is that maybe that's something that we should have on the D101TM website, right? Put something on there. I think that that would be something that would go a long way to help individual clubs in the district.
Absolutely. Yeah, some videos of some quick ones like this is what you would like to see, this is what you would like, you know, this is how you want to be in the frame. These are the gestures that you could do, you know, keep that little marker on your camera that makes sure that you're always looking at the camera or the area of the camera so that you don't lose eye contact with your audience. That's the other thing is a lot of people start talking away from their screen. And we would say that in a room, like you lost eye contact with us. Well, it's even more noticeable when this is, you know, that's all you're focusing on is the majority of their face. And so as soon as they lose eye contact, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, something like that. I'd like to see something where there's more participation from the various clubs. What about this? What about that? Because I think that's a good way for them to go. I do love Carrie Lynn when she opens up our club, Aptos Club. I love how she makes everybody present-minded about staying on camera and staying on that we're there when we have stuff going on. It really makes us feel like it makes us feel about as close to community as we get to feel in that environment. So that's I think an important one to have.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
glad she brought that up because I think I'm going to have to go impart some of that wisdom with this other strict club that completely turns off all their cameras. And I feel like it's just, we lose connection with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, strict is such a, oh my God, such a heavy word. All right, other thoughts out there?
And
Carrie
I
Lynn.
just want to say, you can present it as, let's expand. Let's use this as a form of expansion for our growth as Toastmasters. You don't have to say, oh, they do this in this other club and I don't like it. You can be, hey, let's try this new thing. Let's see how it goes. Let's practice it for a month.
Yeah.
And see how it is. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about Toastmasters is we get to practice things.
That's exactly right. And again, like I said, this Zoom thing is such a great example of that because this is how it's going to be. I was speaking to someone the other day who's with Google and he's in a pretty high position. And he was just saying, yeah, it's never going back to the in-person kind of presentations that we said. This is here to stay. And I've heard other people say the same thing. It's kind of like, no, this is actually a better way for us to go. This is something that we have learned. So let's make sure that as members, we take advantage of that. And let's make sure that the other members that don't know to do so, maybe they get explained, here's the benefit for you, and here's what you can do with it. Okay.
Hi, this is Kat. I was going to point out our club was considering keeping online element even when we go back to going in person because we had so much fun. We have a club member who's on the East Coast who joins because she can now. And it's going to take logistics. We fortunately meet at a place that has a big screen that we could plug into. So we could even have a prepared speaker present remotely. And what's kind of cool is like, people don't have, if they're running late, they can still join, or if they're traveling, they can still join and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Other ideas, questions, thoughts?
I have a different
I think
question.
we hear from some people who say they don't feel like they're really learning public speaking because they're not standing in front of actual people and they're just in their house, and trying to get the idea across to them that you're still speaking in public, even though you're speaking to your computer and learning those techniques. I've heard several people who said, oh, I'm not going back until, we're in person. I'm thinking you're going to have a very long wait. So it's trying to get that idea across to people that you are learning public speaking, even though you're not in a room full of bodies.
Well,
Well,
not
this
only
is,
are you not
yes,
standing-
this is what public speaking is at the moment. This is public speaking. And more to the point, why do they want to learn public speaking? I think that's the big question. If they can share with you why, and that's like all capital letters there, then you can let them know how it is applicable because in every scenario, it is applicable. Bob?
I was just going to say, not only are you not standing in front of a room of people, you're not standing.
Well, some people do, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
most don't. Yeah, most are sitting down now.
yeah, my suggestion is basically, find out what they're thinking of when they say, I'm not learning public speaking. Why are you interested in learning public speaking? It's not very often when, as an example, I go out and demo a new Toastmasters club for a company that if I'll say how many people are interested in becoming public speakers, I'm telling you right now, practically nobody raises their hand. But if you say to them, how many people want to become better at their presentation skills at work, everybody raises their hands. You do get those skills. The fact of the matter is that it is even more challenging, and I'm sure there's a number of you that will agree with me, it's more challenging to do a speech in front of Zoom with people around there. You really have to up your game. because when you're that way, your energy level just shifts. It's not as high. This is something that I will tell you for myself, I have to constantly work on, that I make my energy level go up because I'm used to the energy level exchanging between me and people that I can really see, that I can hear little itsy bitsy things. I'm used to that. I don't have that in Zoom, so I need to learn how to up my own game. Everybody does.
I've just to add on to that, I've also noticed that I there's one organization I do volunteer workshop with on presentation and facilitation skills, and typically a lot of these people have never given a presentation in front of a room before. When we were doing the workshop live, and people would be very nervous about that. I don't sense those nerves at all in a Zoom environment. People seem a lot more relaxed about that, and I don't know if this is related or not. But I've also found, whether in a Toastmasters environment or other meetings, people have a stronger tendency to ramble on in a Zoom meeting, much more than they would in front of a room.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
I want to mention something I saw Kat brought up in the chat about people reading mostly these days. And we've been noticing that as well, where it's just read up because you can't see them do it, but you can certainly tell the difference. And we do kind of point that out when we notice it, because you can see their eyes tracking and tell that they're reading something, but it's becoming more prevalent, I've noticed, with speakers having their, reading instead of really just talking.
And see, now right there and then, here's a simple, great thing, right? That that they're reading, even though they think that they're pulling a fast one on you, that that they're reading tells them that they need to work on that, okay? They have to work on their Zoom skills in terms of reading, if that's what they're doing. Now, what I will tell people to do, what it's wonderful for, that's very different from doing presentations in person, is the old grab an index card, get a black pen, and just put bullet points on certain key words to help you to remember where you're going in your presentation. You just stick it right over the monitor portion here, and there it is for you to see. Nobody else can even see you seeing it. It's just right there, and it keeps you on track a little bit. The one problem with that is that it can almost become a false sense of security. And you really want to work on making yourself the person that does a better job at remembering than having something like that that can handicap you in the end.
This is Kat. I was going to say, I feel like slides are a good tool to learn, and using speaker notes, 2 screens and so forth is really useful. What I try to encourage people is at least do a speech every once in a while that you fully memorize, because that's still a really good skill to good muscle to use every once in a while. Both of those muscles are important. We have a lot of folks that just slides for every single speech. And so that part, I was like, yes, it'll be useful right now. But then the other skill is useful at any time, even when you do use slides.
Yeah, I think so. Slides, I'm always a little bit more hesitant with in a Zoom environment. And I'm talking about what on the work side of what I do. I try to slow the slide use down, because you are double distancing yourself from the people that you are presenting to. And to Bob's point, which is true too, they can become a crutch, which is not a good thing to have. And people are going back to what I've noticed of late, which is very interesting, and I believe is because of this new culture that we're in. People are going back to multiple bullet points. I mean, no white space. They're saying everything that they're seeing on the slide as if people cannot read for themselves, right? They're missing the whole thing. And so I find myself again and again looking at a presentation Zen kind of thing. And if you don't know what that is, do look it up once we get offline, because I believe that makes for a much more effective presentation for people overall. Other questions? Let's see, time wise, I think we have 10 minutes or 5 minutes? What do we have?
About 10 minutes, a little less than
10
10
minutes.
minutes. We should.
Okay.
We'll get an announcement in about 4 minutes that we have 5 minutes.
Okay. I might speak with my VP of Ed. I know you can't read this, but. Okay. All right. Who else has a question or a thought?
Just kind of, oh, sorry.
Please,
Just
Dan.
kind of going back to, I guess, the point about the strict club who doesn't allow cameras to be on. I think one thing that's kind of interesting that I've sort of recommended members in our club to do is to keep cameras on and for speakers to put their screen in gallery mode. That way you're sort of allowed to see all the audience at once. So you don't get that feedback of hearing how people react to jokes or seeing, but you do get at least the facial expressions from people, which I found pretty useful. Not only in Zoom, not only for Toastmasters, but in real work meetings as well.
That makes good sense.
And along those lines, Zoom finally just added a couple of releases ago, added the ability to shrink the size of the presentation screen so you can increase the gallery view and have more faces visible.
Yep. And Catherine, I think you had your hand up. Catherine Barrowman.
Hi, first I want to apologize for talking to my husband briefly. Well, my mic was on.
No worries.
I have really been interested in the transition to the Zoom environment for our club because everyone is giving speeches with just the frame of their head and their top of their body. So it's like we have no more hands and, we have no more body language, no more movement. And I'm wondering if there's one of the crutches that we have is that we are trying to be really close to our webcam or to our microphone that's directly in front of us. And we don't know exactly what the best technical devices are to allow us to speak from a distance away from the camera. And that's one of the things that I think would be really nice to offer on our District 101 website are some tech tips, some things that you can buy to increase your ability to have very positive presentation skills on Zoom. And another thing that I'd like to bring up is that I find it really awkward to connect with guests in our Zoom meetings. I noticed one of the leaders that visited our meeting recently, she made a point of mentioning things that each guest did well when they gave their table topics in a chat to everyone, to try to connect with that person, to give them some encouragement. I remember when I was first starting Toastmasters, I felt very nervous in the club, and any amount of encouragement helped me feel like I wanted to come back to the club. So I'm just raising the question, what are the things that all of you are doing in order to connect with your guests and to help them receive some positive reinforcement that's not over the top? It's not going to scare them away, like we're in your face and we're saying, oh, great, but we're just responding really well to what a person's sharing and trying to bring them into the fold.
Well, I will tell you, I went to go visit a club not too long ago. And when I went into the club, there were other guests there too, not just me. And I was not acknowledged by anyone. No one was acknowledged by anyone. I felt like I haven't seen that in a while. And I felt like that is a bad thing that needs to be changed because people need to be acknowledged. I mean, it's just what you do when you open the door to your house. You say hello. You don't just like walk away from the door and go away. So my suggestion is that everybody understand that we're all there, even on Zoom, to say, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you here before. Can you tell me about yourself? Do you belong to another club? Whatever. Have a conversation with them and learn how to be. This was a big problem for me for a number of years. I had to learn to be okay with asking questions and just having a chat without feeling self-conscious about it. It was a little bit hard before. So tell everybody, this is how we're going to help ourselves. We're going to learn how to become less self-conscious. We're going to learn how to welcome our guests. And in the very opening of the meeting, something that I think is a good thing to do, have the president acknowledge each guest that's there, find out in under a minute what brought you to our club today. I think that that's nice and it doesn't make anybody feel uncomfortable. And at the end of the meeting, what did you think about our meeting today? And then invite them to come back again. I think that is not too much. I think that that is something that a person can do. That would be my suggestion to start off with. And then there are other things beyond that. Catherine, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email real quick, I will write out a list of things for you that you can contemplate and use. I only suggest that because I do see that we're running low on time. So would you do that? Okay, great. Okay,
Rita,
and then
you bring up a really good point about
Anna, excuse me for 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
I just noticed that there was another person there, Joanna, who had a question, and I want to be able to try and get that in super quick. Joanna? So you're on mute, Joanna.
Hi, my quick question is, I'm in a club that, of course, it's not that big because of COVID and people can't come. But the thing is, the president in my club doesn't want to really get more members. I asked him about that, which was really weird because more people are challenged at home, especially the parents. There are times where several of our parents aren't coming because they have to deal with work and home related issues. And I've addressed that with the president saying, well, why don't we try to do a push to get more members? And he said, I really want to keep this club small and focus on educating the members that we have. And I'm kind of like, well, there's going to be times where people aren't going to come and you're going to be challenged to get all the functionary roles filled out. I don't really like to be in that situation myself to see that happen. And I don't know how to change his mind about that.
Which club? Well, I don't really want to know which club. Somebody needs to know, but I don't really need to know. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right about that. There should always be, here's the thing. You're going to go from a robust membership to practically nobody overnight. That's just how it plays. And I've seen this over and over again. So whatever you do, that president doesn't really have it right. You know what? Again, in the interest of time and everything, can you and I talk about this offline? And I think you're saying yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Could you please just send me an email and let's start a conversation offline? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Any other questions? Well, actually, no other questions because we're 1 minute. I think it's also helpful to share, can do, enrolls, or TM, whatever works. Okay, we've got a lot of great ideas here. I'm seeing 43 little chat things, most of which are suggestions and ideas, which are very, very good. Was this a good session for you guys? Yeah, I do wish actually that we could go a little bit longer just to cover any other thoughts. It's again one of those things where energy wise, when we get together, when we talk and everything, the synergy that results from it, the additional information and how we all learn, every single one of us, it's magnificent. It's just really something. All right. Any other thoughts? All right. Carrie Lynn, do you want to tell us where to go? Well, but be nice.
Yeah. I can be real scary today. So after this session, when this room closes, you will be put back into the main room. We will have a 15-minute break, and then we will have another breakout session with specialty clubs. One is how to start a specialty club, and the other one is a specialty clubs showcase. So I hope that all of you will join us, but you'll be put up back in the main room, and then the same process over again of joining a breakout room. So thank you, Rita. This was wonderful.
And thank you everybody for participating and sharing your thoughts too. This was a success largely because of you, really. Well, very largely because of you. And I'm just gonna see some of you maybe at the Specialty and Advanced Club Showcase. And I'll just wait till we get tossed over there. All right. Oh, I love my heart. Thank you, Françoise. That's lovely. All righty. Well, I will.
We have a little tiny bit of time to chit chat, I guess. Hi, Diane. It's good to see you on here.
Here.
Hi, Anna.
How are you?
Doing okay?
Okay.
Carolyn, are you here?
I am. Let me rename myself and get that all
Yes,
set up.
please. Thank you. Can we
Great.
quickly do a check on timer cards to make sure it's looking good?
Carrie, that's a great hat.
Well, thank you. This is as close as I'm getting to a costume, so.
Hi, Carl Thormeyer.
Hello.
Hi, Lorraine.
I have my hat from the pirate theme.
Arr.
Friends.
Division A.
Arr.
Division A contest.
That's a great hat. And Tony has a hat too.
Oh, I remember that.
That's great.
And
Hi,
Anne has her
Andrew.
flashing. Anne has her
Hello.
flashing earrings.
Also went
Shabir.
400.
Great to see all the friends here.
I should have stayed in my
Cat.
pajamas. That would have
Kitty
been
cat.
my costume.
Kitty.
You should go change. You have time.
Just changed out.
Lane, you look great too.
I just got out of the prison.
Ooh.
Can the host
Hey,
enable
Carrie.
my video
Looking good.
I don't know. It's
for a host?
Who's
Yes.
I can try enabling your video. Who's
Yeah.
speaking?
Yeah, it's for Sarah.
Ashish, I did that just now.
Start my video.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yay. Oh, I have to get my camera. There we go. Thank you.
Lainey, good job as evaluation Toastmaster.
Thank you.
Lady Liberty.
Yes.
Uh,
I always wanted to
Carolyn,
have a body like a Greek statue.
You do.
Carolyn, is it possible to quickly do a time? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Now we can go back to chit-chatting. Thanks.
Hey, Carl, can you please check the chat?
Yeah, I did. It won't let me respond to you. I sent you an email during Ken's presentation that answers your question.
Great. Thank you so much.
And then you have so many followers by that point, it's just like, oh, he is so good.
Hi, Diane.
Hey, there's Henry.
Henry
Hi,
Miller. Marsha, love your outfit.
Oh, wait a minute. There's two more screens here.
Is it?
I don't see
Oh, yeah,
Allison dressed
great.
up this year.
I know.
You know, Allison, I still remember your outfit from last year. The green outfit.
Oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is it. I thought that was the least I could do. I put it on my photograph. But I had a little bit of a accident where I pulled my back, and I'm just not up for moving the boxes down to get my costume. So
Oh, so sorry
about
to hear
that.
that.
That's when you ask your honeydew.
You're right, Lorraine. I should. What am I thinking?
Well, at least you and Megan have really good backgrounds. Ooh, and so does Diane. Look at that background.
Oh, yeah. Megan's background is actually, I think it's in Ukraine.
Is that Francois with a good background too? Yeah.
Yes.
And the pirate hat. We got a couple pirate hats going.
Oh, that pirate hat brings back memories, Lorraine.
I know. That was such a wonderful
So,
conversation.
Shyamala, I just have a question for you.
Yes.
So we are going to cut off people, as in mute them, like in the presidential debate after 4 minutes, correct?
That's right. Unfortunately, yes. Yes, Michael.
Thank you.
I need to be made co-host.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Michael, is there a specific feature that you're looking for as co-host?
No, I just thought the requirement for when we make our presentations.
Do you see the share screen option right now? Or I think you should be good if your audio video looks good. And are you planning to share something?
No.
Then you should be okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael, you only need to be co-host when you're making brioche.
And we have to have a slice. We got to add that.
So the plan was that what Michael mentioned was actually correct. The original plan was to have all presenters as co-hosts. That was just a safety kind of requirement to make sure they're not interrupted or, everything is running smooth. But right now in this format, for Michael to be the co-host, he has to go back into the main room, and Nishant is in the middle of a lot of things there, and he'll have to make him co-host, and we'll have to bring him back here. So I thought we can just, if we can live with everything without being co-host, then I think it's okay.
Thank you.
Shyamala, are we all set? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. I was just trying to answer Cicely email. Ashish, can you look at that, please?
Yeah, and
I cannot open my video.
Shyamala, it's 11:15. Please.
Yes. Yes, Ishrat. Yeah. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters. Here are some logistics information. Like every other session you have been in, please stay muted and leave video turned off, except for our presenters showcasing their clubs. We are excited to feature our district specialty and advanced Toastmasters clubs for the first time in Fall Fusion. Representatives from each club will present their club and answer any questions. If you have visited them, you already know what to expect, or maybe not. If you haven't checked out all these clubs yet, like me, I did not visit some of them, this will be a great opportunity to do that and more. Each club will give a 3 to 4 minute presentation. Carolyn will show green at 3 minutes, yellow at 3:30, and red at 4 minutes. Please send the questions in the chat stating the presenting club name so that we can address it in the panel discussion. Before introducing a club, we will just do a quick audio-visual check by saying club name. How is your day going? Can you see the timer? Are you all ready?
Yay!
Let's begin the club showcase then. "831 Storytellers. How is your day going? Can you see the timer?
Groovy. It's going groovy here.
All right.
Far out, man.
Please help me welcome Helen Josephine Tom Ginsburg, representing 831 Storytellers.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. 831 Storytellers is a great place to spin yarns and share your storytelling techniques. To learn how to be an effective storytelling and connect with your audience. Our club was founded in 2015. We meet on the first and third Tuesday evening of every month from 7 to 8:30 p.m. All of our members are actively engaged in Pathways projects and speeches, but our trick is to use storytelling techniques throughout our Pathways projects. At our meetings, we have a storytelling tip master that shares storytelling tips. We have an idiom of the day, and our grammarian counts on and comments on effective use of language, including idioms, alliterations, similes, metaphors, and vocal variety in our stories. We practice our improv skills with extended 2 to 3 minute Tail Topics, where we're all encouraged to tell a story. Once a month, we break loose from Pathways, Groovy, with extended 2 to 3 minute tail topics in the storytelling jam. 4 to 5 minutes speech on the topic of the day. It's a lot of fun. But wait, there's more. We hold karaoke PowerPoint parties. Your speech is illustrated by PowerPoint slides that have nothing to do with your topic. You learn to think on your feet, react gracefully to the unexpected, and use storytelling techniques to engage your audience. We're an advanced club, and our next PowerPoint karaoke party is on Tuesday, December 15th. We hope you'll join us. 831storytellers.org to get the details. Tom, what can you add?
Well, why 831 Storytellers? All right. We decided to start a club here with a little inspiration from Rita Barber. We needed a club on this side of the hill that did storytelling. We were inspired by Silicon Valley storytellers. Yes, we admit we stole Tail Topics. We stole the Idiom Master. Thanks to them for pioneering it for us. But as Helen mentioned, we do things a little differently in our own ways with our PowerPoint karaoke sessions, and the fact that we do like to encourage our members to do pathway speeches, but then the storytelling jams is kind of a free for all where you do 4 to 5 minute stories. It is a lot of fun, and we've gotten visitors from now with Zoom, as probably many of you have, from all over the world joining in. But we would also love to have you come check us out on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. Helen, you've got anything else you want to add?
We're a lot of fun, and we really would appreciate some guests to come join us.
Indeed. There's nothing like having additional guests and members. And now that we're all Zooming, we'd love to see some of you folks from the other side of the hill checking in with us as well, besides just those of you in Division A. But we also would love to see some of you folks from Monterey County coming in and joining us as well, because, hey, we've all got stories to tell. And let's face it, we all know this in Toastmasters, that practicing stories will help any type of speech. While we do encourage our members to be members of other clubs as well, we don't require it. If somebody has some storytelling chops, we definitely let them join us and come on and encourage them to check out the Pathways path along the way. Is it time for the questions now, or is that part of our 3 to 4, or is that after?
It is after, Tom.
Okay. All right. Very good. Helen, anything else to add?
Nope, we're done. Thanks so much. Groovy time.
All right.
Thank
so
you
if
so
anyone has
much,
questions to the...
Yes, we will direct all the questions at the end, Tom. Thank you so much, Helen and Tom. Very nice to hear about your club. The next one, Leadership 101, an advanced Toastmaster club. How is your day going? Can you see the timer?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Black, yes. Yeah.
There we go. Hello.
Okay. Please help me welcome Francois Mueller, Rita Barber from Leadership 101, an advanced Toastmasters club.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Well, Leadership 101, we raise the ante on what you know about leadership in each and every one of our meetings. We take a particular theme that has to do with leadership, and we do a deep dive on it. We also have some changes in our club that you will not find in a regular Toastmasters club that specifically addresses leadership, such as our Listen Master as an example, because as we all know, a leader needs to be able to listen twice as much as he or she speaks. We have a great deal of fun in doing everything that we do because we do learn from all of it. There are some different things that people don't even think about with regards to leadership. As an example, right around the corner this coming Wednesday, our meeting will be, the theme will be Celebrate. We will celebrate as leaders and talk about what the benefits are to that. Francoise is the lady who is leading the charge this year at our club. She is our president, and I'm going to turn it over to her to share more about our club and what makes us different. Francoise?
Thank you, Rita. Indeed, our club is special. We do have the same format than any other club. We have regular speeches, etc. But we have new rules that we came up with to help our leaders become even better. For example, the listen master. When you come to a meeting at Leadership 101, pay attention to the content of every speaker's speech. Take notes if you wish, but at the end of the meeting, our listen master will ask the attendants a few questions about the content of the speeches and table topics. So this increases everybody's listening skills and develop our attention span at the same time. So we are not looking at something else on another monitor and answering text or emails. So we really develop that skill during meetings. Our table topics have a twist. We call them "What would you do" table topics. These are geared toward real-life leadership scenarios, and we have questions that put members either in a manager or a contributor's shoes and answer the questions for the scenario at hand. Whatever position we hold at work, we are all placed in a leadership situation from time to time, whether we are a manager or a contributor. Also, another little aspect of Leadership 101 is that we have a question authority segment after each prepared speech. This is not a Q&A per se, but we ask our members to, the speakers, to really defend their position on the speech they just presented. So these are just a few of the special rules that we have in the club. And there are a couple more that we also have, and I invite you to come and visit us the first Wednesday of every month. Rita, anything else to add?
Well, I have to share one of my favorites that we have in our club. There's all good stuff, but we also have the profile of the day. And I love that because we take a look at a particular leader that maybe we'll be familiar with, maybe not. And you find out more about that person and the aspects of leadership that they're great. Come and visit us this coming Wednesday, 6:30. Look for the meetup. Send us an email if you can't find the meetup and be a part of our club and enjoy.
Thank you, Francois and Rita, for such a great introduction about the club. Mandarin English Toastmasters, Mountain View. How is your day going? Can you see the timer?
Hold on. Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Please help me welcome Kelvin Jin, representing Mandarin English Toastmasters.
大家万圣夜好. That means Happy Halloween in Mandarin Chinese. Interestingly, the Chinese term for Halloween wasn't derived from the word Halloween, like many other loan words, but was rather derived from the original name of Halloween, which was All Hallows Eve. As a native English speaker, I was surprised to find that learning the Mandarin term for the Western concept I was so familiar with ironically led me to learn something about the English etymology of that concept. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Kelvin, and I'm here on behalf of the Mandarin English Toastmasters Club in Mountain View. Our club was founded about 4 years ago, and we have about 20 members in our club. We meet at 7 p.m. every Tuesday night on Zoom. As our name implies, our club is a bilingual one, with members speaking and communicating in either Mandarin Chinese or English, and we strive to provide a friendly environment for people to gain confidence in speaking either one. Even though we don't have any restrictions whatsoever on who can speak what language, it turns out that the majority of our members often choose to challenge themselves by speaking in their non-native language. Our club often attracts language learners looking to improve their confidence and elevate their speaking level in their second language, while sharing knowledge and helping others with their own native language. For that reason, as you may guess, we have 2 grammarian rules in our club, one for English and one for Chinese. Since many grammar mistakes come from mistranslation, grammarians in our club can actually draw on our bilingual knowledge to provide nuanced feedback on not only what can be improved, but how a mistake could have come about from a specific pattern in one language that doesn't work in another. We also have both a Chinese and English word of the day, which are often direct translations of each other, although sometimes they have slightly different usages that often lead to creative and unexpected usages in speech. But that's not to say that our club is completely focused around bilingualism. In fact, many members use the club just as much as a way to continue to communicate effectively in their own native language. For example, some native Chinese speakers in our club look to consciously counteract the phenomenon known as code switching, which occurs when they have inadvertently co-opted many English words into their otherwise day-to-day Chinese conversation while living here in the United States. We also strive to keep the atmosphere welcoming for speakers who don't speak or even understand both languages. We are also a social club, so in addition to our weekly club meetings, we schedule hikes and potlucks from time to time. In fact, we are actually planning a hike tomorrow in Santa Cruz. Of course, there probably won't be any potlucks for a while because this isn't really the year of potlucks. Our primary goal as a club is to provide a welcoming environment for bilingual speakers of Mandarin and English. Whether or not your goal is to become a great bilingual speaker, I invite you to come visit our club on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. If you are a native English speaker, you'll probably learn something about Mandarin and vice versa. And who knows, maybe you'll learn something about your own native language as well. Happy All Hallows Eve. Back to you, Shamala.
Thank you, Kelvin. I did not realize that you did evaluations and grammar in both languages. So very interesting. Thank you for that insight. Peninsula Pros, how is your day going? Can you see the timer?
I do not see the timer yet. Oh, there we go. Yes, I can see the timer. Diane, can you see?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Please help me welcome Carrie Glenn, Diane Bear from Peninsula Pros.
Thank you, Shamala. It was my first time visiting Peninsula Pros, the Advanced Toastmasters Club on the Monterey Peninsula. I'm sitting at a table at the Black Bear Diner next to a few good friends. The server is flitting around the room, delivering food, taking orders, passing out drinks. I order wine because I see that Melissa is drinking a glass. Now this is my kind of meeting. And now it's time to begin. I'm surprised to see that there are 4 speakers and 4 evaluations. We never have time for all that in my club, but that's not all. As someone who's terrified of giving evaluations, I also noticed there's a round robin evaluation as well as the regular evaluations. This means that each person in the room is called on to give a brief evaluation. And when the person next to me is finished, I am a hot mess bag of nerves, but they skip me. You have no idea how relieved I am to learn that visitors don't participate, we just watch. Now, having been invited by Carl, I knew that my future would now include a 3rd Toastmasters Club and a ton of evaluations. And while it was scary for me at first, it has given me much more experience and made me a better leader altogether. At Penn Pros, giving a lot of evaluations means that we get a lot of experience in truly dissecting already excellent speeches. It sharpens our eyes and our ears to really watch and to listen so that we can give advice that someone else hasn't already given. We meet in a noisy, unpredictable, uncontrollable dining environment, usually. And this gives us the opportunity to deal with distractions. We also get to give a lot of speeches, including longer advanced speeches and dry runs on non-Toastmasters speeches. This prepares us to give keynote speeches at conferences, and it gives us a chance to practice longer TED Talk length speeches. And as public speakers, Penn Pros gives us ample opportunity to get great ideas for improvement, because every time we give a speech, we don't just have one evaluation, we get several. And each person is bringing their own view to the evaluation, which helps us to develop our speeches to meet a variety of audiences. And the best part is that we nearly always walk away with several effective changes for improvement. And now our VPE Diane will tell you just a little bit more. Diane, take it away.
Thanks, Carrie. Yes, we also feature communication and leadership focused workshops, such as parliamentary procedure, how to respond to verbal criticism. We've done debates, evaluation, and mic night. But one of our favorites is our annual Winner's Circle. Every spring, our local club contests are invited to come to Winner's Circle where they can practice their speeches in advance of the area contest. And they'll get multiple round robin evaluations. Who can't use more feedback? We also have experienced longtime members like Carl Thormeyer, who's been a Toastmaster for over 50 years. We have members who are active in the community, and most members have served or currently are serving at the area, division, district level. Almost all our members are DTMs. We even have a Toastmaster who made it all the way to the 2011 International Speech Semifinals and won second place. That could be none other than Arnie Bess, who also gives us personal communication workshops. Well worth it. As you can see, this depth of knowledge, our club model, and a genuine group of advanced Toastmasters is open to everyone. Well, nearly everyone. We do have a membership requirement, something to aspire to for some of you. Our applicants must have completed a CC, CTM, or 2 levels of pathways. If any of this describes you or piques your interest, we'd like you to check out our flyer and give us a visit. We meet only once a month, Wednesday evenings from 6 to 7:30 p.m., the 3rd Wednesday of the month. Check out our website, check out our flyer. We'd love to help you take that next step in your speaking journey. Back to you.
Wow, multiple rounds of evaluation? Huh. Let me think about that. Thank you, Carrie and Diane. You partly scared me, but partly inspired me. Thank you for that. Silicon Valley Improv Masters, how is your day going? Can you see the timer?
Awesome. And yes.
Yes, I'm doing great, but I need to have video started. There you go. Okay.
Yes.
I'm doing great. Thank you. And I see the timer, but it disappeared. Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay.
Perfect. Please help me welcome Shabir Latif, Elaine Lung, representing Silicon Valley Improv Masters.
Thank you, Shamla. To set the stage, I want to begin by defining improvisation. Improvisation is to perform or find solutions for unexpected problems or challenges spontaneously. Why is this important in life now? If I ask you how many of you have never improvised in your life, I would be very surprised if any of you raise your hand. According to famous actor Michael J. Fox, happiness is directly proportional to acceptance and inversely proportional to expectations. So you see, we will, by engaging into improv activity, is like analogous to working out in gym. We build cognitive muscles or neurons in our brain that can help us improvise in life and be happy. So Elaine and I will demonstrate an activity called lightning round. In this activity, each person will stop speaking after a phrase or two, and the other person will have to begin with the last word that the previous person stopped at, and will continue back and forth. So Elaine, are you ready?
I am.
What is the most unusual experience you have had on Halloween?
Halloween's always an unusual experience for me, Shabir. I don't really celebrate it.
It is a kind of a funny holiday for me too.
Too true. I think a lot of people think it's very funny.
Funny is not the right word for me. I feel like it's inconvenience, and tonight I'm going to turn off the light, go into a different room and watch TV.
TV is a great way to avoid those trick-or-treaters.
Treaters are fun if I'm getting the treat, but I don't like the tricksters.
Tricksters can make your life very interesting. And let's call it a scene right there. Thank you, Shabir.
Thank you.
This is just a little game we play at every meeting. It's how we start and warm up our neurons and those brain cells and get ourselves loosened up to play. Because improv is exercise, but it's also play. And it all starts with an attitude, a mental attitude called yes and. Yes and. So what are the other characteristics of improv? The yes and mental attitude says, yes, I see what's in front of me. I accept it. I acknowledge it. And I'm going to add my creativity to it to move it forward. We practice that every meeting. We listen deeply to the other speakers, and we also strive to make our partners look good. Things that happen at every single Toastmaster meeting in the different roles. So the benefits for speakers are that you can connect with your audience on a deeper level. You can be more confident taking risks on stage, and you can just have more fun on stage as you connect deeply. So I invite you to come and check out our club. We meet Monday night at 7 o'clock on the first, third, and fifth Mondays of the night. And in the chat is our meetup if you'd like to join us at our next meeting on Monday night to learn how to step outside yourself and take risks. And Shabir, have the final word.
So when you face any situation, remember to say, yes, I accept. Then take action with what you have at the moment and what you can do at that moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Shabir and Ellen. I remember my first Toastmaster experience ever before I became a member. I froze on table topics for 2 minutes. Didn't say a word, but I still got claps. It's going to be a nightmare for me to go through a 1 hour full of a meeting on improv. But it seems very interesting and very exciting. Thank you for that details. Please help me welcome the next club, Silicon Valley Storytellers. How is your day going? Can you see the timer?
Yeah, I can see the timer.
I don't see the timer.
Can you see the timer?
I see it now. Yep, I see it now.
Perfect. Please help me welcome Pat Furagan and Anne Hu from Silicon Valley Storytellers.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning. Pat and I represent Silicon Valley Storytelling Club. Who does not like a good story? We enjoy an evening of great stories ranging from personal experiences, folklore, long excuses at work, to ridiculous, outrageous, tall tales. We're the first storytelling Toastmaster club in the South Bay area. It has been 7 years now, and we follow the Toastmaster format. Plus, we focus on stories. Our group has experienced speakers and storytellers, some who have developed their skills over time and some who just started. So it's all for all levels, no experience required to join. So just show up, and we meet second and fourth Mondays of each month from 6:45 to 8:30. How many of you have sit through trainings with going through the slides and boring? And I actually had to encounter a sexual harassment training at work, and it was just, oh, not again. And then last year we had a trainer who presented that I was so engaged to his presentation for the entire hour. He told us stories, cases. He has been in sexual harassment training for 30 years, and he made connection to all of us that I still remember some of the cases that he presented and what we should do, what we should not do at workplace or outside of the workplace to stay away from trouble of getting a sexual harassment situations. So making connection, discover, empower through storytelling is the key. And there are a lot of benefits for joining our club, that we offer a variety of storytelling workshops, and our speech will be evaluated based on storytelling principles, and each meeting has a meeting theme. And then of course we have annual story slam, holiday party, and club anniversary in June. So there are some social aspect of our club. And I'll let our fellow member Pat to go over our meeting structure. Pat?
Thank you very much, Anne. And okay. So yes, so we have a similar story structure, meeting structure to the other storytelling club. We do have tail topics. We have it's instead of table topics, and we have a storytelling tip, which we try to incorporate some aspect of storytelling into our speeches. And we have an idiom of the day, and everything, the idiom of the day, the tail topics are included as part of the theme of related to the theme of the meeting. And we would like, okay, and I'd like to say that it's sometimes a challenge to find a story in a certain type of speech, but it can be done. In fact, I think any speech can be made into a story. Thank you. Back to Shamala.
Thank you, Pat and Dan. You inspired me for one reason, because the other day when I was trying to put my kids to sleep, they asked me for a story. Because I couldn't come up with a story, I said I have to do some Toastmasters work, and then I just came out and sat near the laptop. I think probably if I can visit your club a couple of times, I will get some ideas how to spin off a story on the spur of the moment so that I can actually make them happy. Thank you for that inspiration, Anne and Pat. The next one, or rather the last one but not the least, Surf City Advanced Toastmasters. How is your day going? Can you see the timer?
My day's going great. And yes, I can see the timer.
Henry, can you also see the timer?
Yes, I can see the timer. I need to start my video also.
Yes, please.
Good. I'm okay.
Perfect. Please help me welcome Michael Hoynatsky, Henry Miller, representing Surf City Advanced Toastmasters.
Thank you for the wonderful warm welcome and listening to all of the other clubs. It's always a great day at Surf City because surf's up. I'm Michael Hoynatsky from Surf City Advanced. And what's unique about our club? Well, we only meet once a month, which is great because everyone has such a full schedule these days. We give longer speeches, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes if needed. You receive a round robin evaluation plus 16 additional evaluations for the round robin. One person will say, Michael, I loved your transitions. The next evaluator will say, Michael, you need transitions. So you get the wonderful breadth and depth of great evaluations with each person adding something new. I think in Surf City, we truly address the heart of communication. And then after your speech, after the evaluations, we have something called Speaker Share. So Speaker Share allows us to go ahead and have a dialogue with everyone in the group about any part of our development and delivery of the speech. Our club highlights, we journey deep into the world of humor and inspiration. And we really give the warmth of community and a sense of belonging that people care so much about right now. For me, it's about the relationships. Through the coaching and evaluation, I've developed some of the most important relationships in my life. Our members say they leave each meeting feeling inspired to become a better human being. And if you want to find us, look for the flyer with the link to the recipe for the world's best chocolate cake. Over to you, Henry.
Thank you, Michael. And I'm going to just add the icing into the cake. Yes, on the fourth Saturday of each month, Surf's Up at Surf City Toastmasters. And you don't need a wetsuit. You just have to come on down and dive in. And there you will find a number of senior and experienced Toastmasters who have held district office and are willing to help you mentor you and provide valuable feedback to make you a better speaker. Particularly those of you who are struggling with pathways, because most of us have already had DTMs in the traditional program, and we have fully embraced the Pathways program. We have a few members who have already achieved their DTMs in the Pathways programs, and they will guide you along if you're struggling in those areas. We are also a group of Toastmasters who love helping each other. As Michael said, relationships are most important to us. We meet once a month, yes, but we communicate throughout the month with each other. So let me throw it back to Michael to add a little more about Surf City Toastmasters.
When people visit our club, they often comment, "This is such a heart-centered club." And I think that's the key, because the better we are at accepting others, the more comfortable people are writing and speaking about topics that are dear to them and important to them. It's a very safe environment, and wherever you want to go with your speech, we're with you the whole way. Some of you know I baked my first brioche this last week. If you want the recipe, I'll email it to you. It's from the Cordon Bleu. Thank you so much.
Enjoy. Thank you, Michael. Surf City on the fourth Saturday of each month. Come visit us and have fun.
Thank you, Michael and Henry. I am definitely going to reach out to you for Pathways projects. How you handled so many projects and how were you able to complete DTM in Pathways? That definitely caught my attention. Thank you for stating that out loud. So it's not too difficult as everyone is thinking then. It's very inspiring. Appreciate it. All right, Ashish, do we have any questions directed to any specific club? And given that we have little time, see if you can consolidate the questions and rotate around the club's names, please.
So there's one question which was interesting, and the question was, some of the specialty clubs apparently, even in the club meetup page, do not have information to contact them. So I was wondering if any of the specialty clubs could address on how it would be the best to contact them via an official channel. Say, if you look up specialty clubs in Toastmasters, what would be the easiest way to find them?
Do you want us to answer that during or live?
Actually, I can answer that because it kind of answers all the clubs rather than individual ones. We have flyers provided by the clubs themselves that we will share. And also our district website actually has the link that is updated. If the link is not updated, we will do a follow-up with the clubs and then make sure it's updated. But you will see all the details on Fall Fusion website on our d101tm.org. Any other questions, Ashish?
Another question is directed to the Mandarin dual language club who presented today. So the question is, the Mandarin English, do you have to speak both the languages? How does evaluation work if you speak only one of the languages?
Yes, thank you for that question. So I think at minimum you would need to have an understanding of both languages, being able to listen to both of them. Um, Although we have certainly had people, both guests and guest speakers, uh, who only understand one language at all, and they've actually said to us that they can kind of understand a language they don't even know any words from because of all the verbal cues and all these sort of, or sorry, nonverbal cues as well as verbal hesitations and sort of pauses and that which gives meaning to speech even when the language is foreign. Um, so evaluations are usually done in the same language as the speech itself. So there shouldn't be any problems there.
Thank you, Kelvin. Kelvin,
Yes,
I have a
thank you.
question. What can you elaborate more on PowerPoint karaoke 831 storytellers? I definitely want to know how to play that and probably not steal it really, but incorporate it is the right word.
Yes, it's a fun activity that kind of blends storytelling as well as improvisation at the same time. One of our members, Ken Braley, helps with that because he collects the sort of zany pictures throughout the year and then puts them together in separate slide decks of about 10 to 12 slides. You get to pick a topic. So the topic could be how to travel in Europe. And then he starts the slides, and the slides could be nothing to having to do with travel or Europe, or it's just a whole lot of fun. So you see the slides happening and you just keep talking. And as a slide changes, you have to change where you're headed, but you try to stay on topic. And of course you have to stay on time. So it's a lot of fun. We all laugh very hard that night. So I really encourage everyone who wants to try it out to join our meeting in December 15th, to try out karaoke, PowerPoint karaoke. It'll be fun.
Thank you, Helen. We have very little time, and I really want to ask one question per club at least so that we get a little more flavor. Can we have a short answers, please? Leadership 101, I'm curious to see, given that it's all based on leadership skills building, how have you used the skills you acquire in this club at your workplace?
I will take that question. You use it in how you communicate. People that are stronger communicators are stronger leaders. Stronger leaders are stronger communicators. So it's not something that is just for people that are looking towards leadership. It's something that are for people that look to lead forward, to be able to share something that is more compelling and more convincing. And certainly with some of the exercises that we do within our club, things like being able to question authority, we have to really stand our talk, which makes us even that much more self-assured.
Thank you, Rita. Peninsula Pros, if you have to pick one thing, what is your club's main focus?
I think you heard it. It's evaluations, evaluations, evaluations. And I share Carrie's sentiments. Most people do when you first get there. It's like, how do you do that? But it's really a great point of learning. Everybody grows because you're stretched. Takes a while, but you get there. So evaluations.
Good to know. Thank you. Just reiterating again. Very nice. Silicon Valley Improv Masters, I heard that you talk about improvisation and all of that, but typically how much of time you spend in improv activities in each meeting?
A great question. It's about 40 to 50 minutes and it's sprinkled throughout the meeting. Guests are welcome to play along.
Very interesting. And I'm sure I can find the details on our district website.
And yeah, if you go to the meetup and join, you'll get the link to our meeting. Come check us out Monday night.
Yes, thank you. Silicon Valley Storytellers, what are 2 benefits of joining Silicon Valley Storytellers Club?
Thank you for that question, Shamala. When you join our club, we offer member orientation to get you right, a kickstart in your Toastmaster journey. And then we also pair up a mentor to work with you one-on-one. And then we also offer a variety of storytelling workshops, so we can all improve and hone our storytelling skills. And then the annual Story Slam, I think that we are able to fit 20 to 25 speeches throughout our meeting for a short 5-minute story. I think overall is the connect, discover, empower through storytelling and become an effective communicator and eventually a great leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. One last question to Surf City Advanced Toastmasters Club. What attitude or quality is important to bring to your group?
Go ahead, Michael.
Attitude or qualities? Attitude or qualities? I think just the enthusiasm for wanting to become a better person and make the world a better place. That's it. We'll fill in the rest of the details. In fact, we won't fill in the rest of the details. You will, but we'll listen to your speech and help you polish your presentation.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks to each and every one of you for introducing your clubs to us. It has been such a great learning experience and hope you had fun as well. I would also like to take a moment to thank all the panelists, Ashish, our tech chair, Carolyn, our timer, and most importantly, every single one of you for taking part in this session. Your feedback is super valuable for us so that we make our future events even better. Please do look out for an email from us in the next couple of days. Most probably it will be tonight. For more fun stuff, a costume contest, a humorous contest is on the other side of the break. See you there in the main room. Bye.
Bye. Have fun.
Great
Just
job.
a small note, guys. So when you leave the room, make sure you click on leave room and not leave the meeting. And this is not something that we introduced for Halloween. Leaving the meeting will take you out and spook you out, but leaving the room will take you back to the main room. That's where you want to be.